Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nick Cage Fight podcast, where we break down, review, analyze, and generally try and save you a little bit of time and effort when it comes to sampling the filmography of one Nicolas Cage. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined, as always, by Rich and Ryan. And I gotta ask, how we doing?
I have returned from sabbatical. We're all back, and I'm full of cider.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just living life. Doing my best.
Scratching and surviving. Good times. But we are here today to talk about, I would say, a completely unknown Nick Cage movie. I don't know who fucking saw this.
Unknown, unremarkable.
Called Rage. A 2014 film that was not rated. Not because of content, so far as I can tell. I just don't think that they got proper distribution lines for it.
They spent a decent buck on this movie, though. It is a $25 million movie.
There's
That's
at least
fucking crazy.
one part of the production crew that probably, other than Nick Cage, caused that to happen. And, Danny Glover.
Yep.
I'm guessing Danny Glover and, what's his name? Peter Stormare? Or
Stormare.
Whatever his name is.
Stormare, yeah.
So
I couldn't remember it.
It does thankfully clock in at an easy hour 32 minutes. I'm not mad at that. But why don't we jump right into housekeeping? Because
let's do it.
That should shed some light on what we were in for. So first off, we have the director Paco Cabezas, who had directed some episodes of Penny Dreadful, Into the Badlands, The Umbrella Academy, and the film Mr. Right, which I did not see. Next up, we have the writers. We have Jim Agnew, who famously worked on the Nixon campaign, but also wrote Game of Death, Broken Vows, and The Capture.
And one movie I'm kind of interested in that he co-wrote with the other guy called Giallo. It seems to be a kind of like a modern version of the Italian crime horror slasher movies, which are generally known as giallo films, named for the yellowing spines of Italian pulp novels. It's got Adrian Brody in it. I kind of want to see that.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, damn.
And it was actually directed by Dario Argento, of all fucking people.
The writing partner you mentioned is one Sean Keller, who also worked on Broken Vows and The Capture, but also wrote, and I had to throw this in there, Attack of the Griffin, which I'm interested in.
Yeah, that sounds killer. I mean, he wrote a short called Requiem for a Pumpkin that sounds pretty good.
I usually don't include shorts just because it's rarely relevant for what we're watching, but I did see that too. So, moving on to the cast, which I cut corners on this one a little bit, guys, just because of the difficulty of pinning down some of this cast, so feel free to chime in.
I did want to talk about the cinematographer real quick. Andrei Sekula, the man behind the actual camera for this, he was apparently the cinematographer for Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, American Psycho, the Tarantino section of Four Rooms, and Cube 2, or Cube Squared, Hypercube.
That's honestly more insane than
and Hackers! He was the DOP on fucking Hackers!
Jesus Christ.
Why does this movie look so bad? I don't get it.
So, real quick, he also did the cinematography for the USS Indianapolis Men of Courage.
Oh my
which
God.
we already watched.
I guess my brain just would not acknowledge that.
I figured.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
So, moving on to cast. First up, as always, we have Nick Cage as Paul McGuire, a reformed criminal, but we'll get into that when we get into the plot.
Right, and who you may know from the hit movie Croods 2.
We haven't done the second one yet, have we?
Is the subtitle of that Hypercrudes?
That
yeah,
would be
it's actually
fantastic.
Croods Squared.
I didn't hate the Croods movie.
I
hate to
did.
say that.
I really
I
did.
did not hate it.
Hey guys, I'm watching the trailer for Attack of the Griffin, and I think I gotta watch this.
So next up, we have Rachel Nichols as Vanessa McGuire, who So she looks incredibly familiar, and I went through her whole filmography, and I don't know why she looks so familiar to me. But she was in the 2005 Amityville Horror.
Oh, that was so fucking bad.
She was in Charlie Wilson's War. She was in the 2009 Star Trek. And she was in G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra.
Okay.
And then some television. So I don't know why I recognize her.
She was also in the weird Dumb and Dumber sequel, the one that didn't have the original cast in it.
She was in the 2011 Conan the Barbarian movie with Jason Momoa as Conan. And apparently, they made a fucking Witches of Eastwick TV series?
Yeah, that got some, like, buzz. I never checked it out, but it got some buzz at the time.
That's wild.
So next up, we have Peter Stormare as Francis O'Connell. He was, of course, in Fargo, Constantine, Armageddon, John Wick 2, Bad Boys 2, Wind Talkers, Minority Report, and 8mm, returning friend of the pod. I always love when he fucking shows up in something.
Yeah.
I feel like in this movie he had like a rider in his contract, like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not standing up.
No, his rider was, I'm not standing up and I'm not doing an Irish American accent, because he's supposed to be the head of the Irish mob with that accent.
Well, you know what occurred to me when I saw this? Stormare never does an accent.
No, he doesn't.
Fucking never does, ever. And they cast him in a bunch of different roles where it would make sense for him to have a different accent, and nobody gives a shit. You have to be a certain level of competent where people are just like, we don't give a shit. You never have to try to do an accent. And that's Peter Stormare.
Yeah, just do you.
Yeah. Next up, we have Michael McGrady as Danny Doherty. I included him and not Kane, the guy who played Kane, in this, just because he's in another Nick Cage movie, The Frozen Ground, one we haven't done yet with John Cusack.
Oh, yeah.
I've been waiting for that.
I remember seeing, we were poking around at the Cage filmography, and that one looked pretty okay.
It's not, but it's fine. He was also in Ray Donovan, because we always got to call out Ray Donovan.
Talk about Ray Donovan.
He turned that man.
Wait,
blue.
you talking about this man because he was in another Cage movie, but you're not talking about the guy who plays Kane, who was in USS Indianapolis: Men of Courage.
Oh shit. Okay, so I told you I cut corners on this one, guys. But McGrady was also in The Thin Red Line, Volcano, and a bunch of TV. I put in Volcano because, Ryan, aren't you a fan of Volcano? I can't remember.
I think so. I don't. Probably. Give me a second. I'll look into it. I might be. I know I'm a fan of Volcano Insurance.
Isn't that the one with Pierce Bronson and they're just like running around like?
Yeah. Wait. Is that or is that a different one? It's one of those disaster
Is that maybe
flicks.
Dante's Inferno?
I think you're thinking of Dante's Inferno.
That's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, it's one of those that they always come out.
Oh, this is the one with Tommy Lee Jones. No, this movie does whip ass. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Don Cheadle's there. Yeah.
All right, because you guys shamed me, I'll throw in Max Ryan, who plays Kane, who is in the USS Indianapolis. Just doing a quick perusal. He was in Chain of Command, Winter Dragon, A Dark Day's Night, and Sex and the City 2. Oh,
good for him.
He was in a movie called Dry Run, which actually has a decent rating. Most of his are sub 4 stars. Anyway, moving on. We have Pasha D. Lichnikov as Chernov, who's been in a bunch of shit, including Deadwood, Shameless, A Good Day to Die Hard, Bullet Train, Chernobyl Diaries, also in the 2009 Star Trek, and he was in Cloverfield.
Okay, the guy we talked about a second ago that was in Volcano, he was the bad guy in Trancers. I should have clocked him.
Yeah, you should have.
Michael McGrady, I was not aware of your game. My apologies.
Next up, we have Weston Cage as Young Paul, who was in Lord of War, 211, Get Gone, Mojave Diamonds, and he was also on the soundtrack for Drive Angry, Joe, and Vengeance: A Love Story. All 3 Nick Cage films. He actually wrote the titular song for Drive Angry, titled Drive Angry.
Yeah.
Drive Angrier, yes.
That's the sequel that we need.
Yeah. It needs to
and I
be
hope we
a
get.
trilogy so we can get Drive Angriest. We got Drive Angrier, Drive Angriest, Driver Angrier.
2 driver, 2 angrier.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have Danny Glover as Detective Peter St. John, who is famous for his alter ego, Childish Gambino, who is a rapper.
That's a different Glover.
That's that's Donald
Yeah,
Glover.
yeah.
You're right. I'm
This
sorry.
is the guy.
This is Danny
This is the
Glover.
one who's too old for this shit.
That is correct. He was in all of the Lethal Weapons, and I have to call out the Boots O'Reilly appearances that he was in, including I'm a Virgo and Sorry to Bother You. He was in the Mark Wahlberg film Shooter, and he was in one of my favorite performance art pieces of my lifetime,
Predator 2?
I'm Still Here.
Okay. I mean, you didn't shout out Predator 2 where he calls the Predator old pussy face, but sure.
I didn't think I needed to mention that specifically. I thought that was a given.
Okay, fair.
We've talked about I'm Still Here on the podcast.
I think
before,
so,
right?
yeah.
I'm assuming. Okay.
That's the Joaquin joint?
Yes.
Yes.
The thing that almost destroyed Joaquin Phoenix's career.
Yeah, when he was just like, I'm retiring from acting and now I'm a rapper.
Yeah. Which
And like tried to do like weird like Yahoo stuff.
got kicked off the Letterman show, dove into the crowd of a nightclub to fight somebody. There was that. Honestly, I legitimately do love the shit out of that movie.
Wait, now I'm thinking, have like we as a society canceled Yahoo yet?
I mean,
Wait, do we?
I think
need to cancel
I
Modest
think
Yahoo?
so
What did they
because
do?
it was well.
I don't know.
It was false advertising because that dude was always advertised to me as a Hasidic Jewish rapper, but he's actually just a fucking jam band guy. Like he hangs
Yeah.
out at Fish concerts and just sort of grunts most of the time.
Yeah, no. I just feel like he's somebody that like we just probably shouldn't have around anymore.
because he hangs
I
out
don't
at Fish concerts.
Well, yeah, anybody who hangs out at a Fish concert like can immediately fuck off out of my
Absolutely.
life.
Oh, but I don't know if that gets to the level of cancelable. Like it's
Listen,
embarrassing.
there's so many things that like we've canceled people for less.
That's a new term, man. Was Millie and Vanilli canceled?
Yes.
Yeah, by cancel
for lip
culture.
syncing.
Were they canceled?
Yeah, they didn't have any fucking career after that.
Well, we didn't call it canceling. What was it called then?
Yeah, I
Consequences?
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, no, my brain has been just ever poisoned since 2016.
I hate our new terminology. Every time I hear somebody unironically use the term gaslighting, I'm like, just say lying.
Yeah, because they never
Just
actually
say this person was lying to
they
me.
never mean gaslighting because gaslighting isn't lying. It's lying to someone and then when they tell you that no, you're not that when they confront you about the lie, you have to call into question their mental health. Lying again. It's a double lie. It's
yeah,
a two lie.
it's just lying.
It's
still
it's really
just
malicious
lying.
lying. Like one of my partners uses the word Riz, and I'm like, what the fuck does this mean? Like I had to
Means
look
charisma.
At, yeah, and I didn't realize that.
Is that the
Yes!
origin of that
Yes!
for real? Holy shit.
I work with a bunch of 20-year-olds. That's apparently what that means.
Yeah,
That's more legible than I expected
yeah.
it
She
to
was
be.
like, oh yeah, I'm really digging your Riz, and I'm just like, okay, pardon me.
I mean, I use steez unironically,
Why?
so
That's an older term.
it is an older
Steez
term,
is an older
but it
term, dude.
has a linguistic, let's call it similarity to Riz.
No, but on top of that, the funniest part is like, pardon me, I am 36 and you are 43. Why are you using this terminology?
Because it's dope.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The gaslighting thing gets to me, and that's probably just because I'm becoming a cranky old man. But if somebody tells me I got to watch this great gaslighting film called Shutter Island, I'm gonna lose my mind and physically assault someone.
I can't wait till that happens. I'm gonna get that in my back pocket, actually.
I know it's coming. I know it's coming. And I really, I'm saving up bail.
You gotta
money.
watch this
That's
great
what I'm doing.
gaslighting film. It's called Gaslight from 1943.
That I wouldn't be able to be mad about because that is it's tied to the title.
I think I just gaslit you about the year it came out. I'm gonna double check though.
Stop. I don't like this at all.
I mean, would you like me to mansplain it to you?
I did. I gaslit you about the year that Gaslight came out.
You lie. You just lied. Or actually, you were just incorrect.
Yeah, that's not
It's an unintentional
gaslighting.
lie.
You're not. This isn't Josh saying, "Well, actually, I just saw Wikipedia and it said 1946," and you're not like, "No. Wikipedia is very wrong. It's known for being wrong." As a matter of fact, did you know that anybody can just edit Wikipedia? They can just make their own stuff up. So why?
You sound crazy
so
right
why
now.
are you trusting Wikipedia? You idiot.
Because there's
Trust me.
words. Because I read them.
So we got through housekeeping. Also, side note for my co-host, I realized with all of the excitement about the new recording style,
Oh, we forgot timers.
None of us synchronized watches.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to set a timer for like fucking 50 minutes, and I guess we go to ads.
No. Don't worry. I was actually keeping track. We start like I know I can get us to ads. Don't worry.
Cool.
Can we get sued if we just start doing fake ad reads?
No, absolutely not. I did this in college when I was a radio host. I did fake ad reads for pizza joints I hated, and we never got sued.
Well, they weren't like national chains and stuff, right? Like if I slander Kraft mac and cheese,
No, it was Godfather's
I feel
Pizza,
like they might...
and they suck shit.
Damn it! Now I'm gonna actually have to like
drop their phone number. Drop their phone number.
No, they don't exist anymore.
really.
Unless they moved.
I'm gonna have to edit some of this out. Goddamn. Well, not edit. I'm gonna bleep it so that the people wonder what did they just bleep.
It's comedy, baby.
You got me with that. That shocked me into. All right, well, we can move on to the plot. I know you guys are really studiously trying to avoid this, but I don't think that this movie was a complete loss.
Again, I was,
No, it's just
I was
ugly.
saying it's not a
shot
complete
like
loss. It is unintentionally one of the funniest movies that I've seen.
I got no entertainment out of it. I was just baffled about the editing choices and the cinematography the entire time.
All right, so I think here is where we're starting to figure out our individual hang-ups with movies. I'm always more focused on the story. Like, dumb shit can happen with the cinematography that will just completely bleed past my frontal cortex entirely.
Why did they do a first-person shooter shot in there?
When did they
There's
do
a
that?
scene where it's like the fucking point of view is right behind a gun with a hand coming out, and it's very badly done. It's maybe like a 3-second cut.
It's when they want to get into the quote unquote card game, but there's no card game going on. It's dudes playing pool. Like, again,
No, there's a card game.
Nope,
There
it's
is
in
a
the
card
back
game.
room.
Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. This film is hilarious, especially because
All right,
like
so
I called the end like within the first 5 minutes too, and I've never seen Mystic River.
So that makes me mad because I kept expecting a shittier story. I kept expecting a worse connection.
Well, I was expecting.
I assumed the entire time it was the wife. The wife set it up.
I was expecting
That's
this
crazy.
to be.
No, I know, but that's how bad the movie was up to that point.
I was expecting this to be a Taken, and then when it wasn't, I was like, "Oh, okay, I know what happened."
I will say I was shocked at that part. I was like, "What the fuck is happening in this film?" So, all right, so let's talk
how
about
we
the
get to the
opening
ending
scene.
is fucking hilarious, but we can talk about the opening scene.
It is.
Absolutely baffling, yeah.
So, let's talk about the opening scene because it is
The opening
thematically
scene.
important. Yeah, we open on like a super close shot of Nick Cage's eyes, and he's staring intently at a doorknob, which is fortuitous because the door opens and we see hands holding a shotgun start to come through, and then we cut away from that scene immediately to Paul, Nick Cage's character, outside of school as it lets out to pick up his daughter.
You think that shotgun
And-
was a flash forward or a flashback? I don't think the movie knows.
I
had no fucking idea. I was like, what
so
the fuck
I
is going
actually
on?
assumed
I
it
don't
was
know.
a forward because after thinking about it for the first 10 minutes when I was like, oh, this movie's a Taken. I thought it was a forward, like we're gonna have Nick Cage coming in with a shotgun and blasting his way through. And now I'm actually really upset that we did not get Taken starring Nick Cage instead of Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I mean, we've long said that Cage is not the best stage fighter. Or, screen fighter.
Oh, 100%.
And I don't think the choreography was good enough to justify it. There are a couple of cool moments, like when he stabs that guy through his hand into his back, but mostly...
It's such a cool trope. It's such a cool
And
trope.
he's decently jacked in this movie. Like, for a 50-year-old, I mean. He's got some definition. Yeah. Like, this might be like a...
For a movie in the 50s, he's leading man shredded.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like he
was looking good in this. He was svelte.
He hasn't looked that good since the 80s movies, since, Moonstruck in the tank top, in, Boy in Blue being a greasy bum
that's because
boy.
we haven't watched Con Air.
Don't even mention Boy in Blue in the same conversation as any other Cage physique we've seen. He was
that's fair.
Jesus on the cross shredded in Boy in Blue.
He was yoked.
I didn't know he could get to that percentage body fat before I saw that film.
He was toit like a tiger, but like fucking Con Air, he's pretty shredded too.
Yeah, but he's like
like
every man.
He's like wiry shredded.
Right, he's like every man shredded. He's like, Ryan, if I threw you in the gym for 6 weeks, you could get to that. Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely could, but I never will.
Oh, it just occurred to me. I have no idea how we didn't talk about this up top. Have you guys seen the news article?
Wait, hold on. So
Face Off 2?
Wait,
what?
Before we get into that, I don't know if you guys knew this, but it's time for a motherfucking ad break. Here we go.
Kraft Mac and Cheese. The new way to fight erectile dysfunction. You've heard of the blue pill. It's time for the blue box. Kraft Mac and Cheese.
Brought to you by Face Off 2.
Speaking of dick pills, I saw a lot of new and novel dick pills, and I'm a little bit angry that I didn't take a picture of any of those, because I was driving through the South and stopping at a lot of gas stations for energy drinks. And you know what? They've gotten more unhinged. Some of them look like fucking video game power-ups now.
I wonder if it would make... If we could just break even with a Patreon tier where once a month we send you a dick pill we got from a gas station.
like one out of the package, though.
Well,
literally, like just loose pills in an envelope. I don't know about the transference of liability there or not. We'll ask our lawyers
it's
to
not
look
medicine.
into it.
It's not meant for human consumption. The FDA didn't look at it.
No.
This is a novelty item.
And also, we're not selling it to you. We are just sending you something we got at a gas station.
This is
I
a
feel
gift.
like that would hold up in an American court of law.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it's like one of those like gamer box things. We'll just call it like the bang box.
Yes.
That's gotta already exist.
But it comes
that
with like
has to already
a
exist.
sticker, a dick pill, a paper towel.
Just a loose one of us pulls off a roll in our kitchen.
Yeah. To clean up afterwards. Once you're done with the sticker.
I do feel like the contents of a box like that setting off alarm bells at the postal service. I really do. They're just scanning. They're like, not a bomb, not a bomb, not a bomb. And then they come across this package. They're like, there's something fucking sinister about this. We have to stop it and get the FBI involved. Who do we call?
Nick,
Oh, shit. Okay, so
the
before...
Nick Cage Fight Podcast presents Sex Drugs Weekly.
You couldn't even call it
just
that.
take all the
It's
legal
just-
shit you can find, throw it in a box.
We should do, it would be on brand to do like an Alex Jones type thing where we buy wholesale these dick pills that end up in gas stations and just slap them in a bottle that we put our own label on. It's just the three of our faces smiling and giving a thumbs up.
Now, hear me out. I know you can buy the capsules to make your own pills. I know you can also buy sawdust.
Well, that's most of the nutraceutical market.
Yeah, it's sawdust.
But that is also way more work than I want to do. I just want to go to the wholesalers who make the rhino boner pills and be like, how much for 500,000 pills just in a box? We'll bottle them ourselves. We'll source the bottles and get the custom labels and send those out. Anyway, on to much more important topics. So, Face Off 2. You guys didn't see the article about that?
I didn't see shit about this.
Yeah, we might be in for Face Off 2.
I mean,
is it with Nick Cage and John Travolta?
Is it going to be the same? Is it the same faces? Yeah, that was my good question.
Supposedly, John Travolta and Cage are both like listed for the project.
Yeah, but
okay, so
it's going to be what it's going to be is they're going to be in the movie for 5 minutes. It's going to be fucking Timothée Chalamet and fucking some other 23-year-old, and it's going to be a shitty remake. And I'm not here for it.
Okay, that's a kind of a sad idea for it. My idea was that each of them individually switches faces with someone else entirely.
Yes, Channing Tatum and Mark Wahlberg. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Put Nick Cage's face on one, Travolta's face on the other, and let's just do the whole thing again.
I would love to see
who goes
Nick
to who?
Cage's face on Channing Tatum.
You've created the perfect man.
He's too broad. Nick Cage's face on Tatum would look weird, and I really want to see it.
They're gonna have to stretch it out real hard.
See it. I'm gonna look like a fucking Chaos Space Marine with the face like crudely stapled across it.
I'd also love it if they leaned further into the sci-fi bullshit from Face Off and like just straight up acknowledge that this is like a sci-fi society they're living in, where they've got like fucking oil derrick prisons with magnetic boots and fucking medical science that allows you to face off.
Just find a Philip K. Dick novel that hasn't been adapted for film yet, and
it's unfilmable.
There
no, The Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch is absolutely unfilmable. That's about drug addicts on Mars who are obsessed with dollhouses.
Perfect. Yeah. But, like, you gotta do it, like, 90s movie style, where, like, the script for a Philip K. Dick novel has just been circulating unfilmable, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna slap a couple of different things in there. Face Off 2.
Just like Next.
That's what happened with Speed 2.
That was a Philip K. Dick novel?
No. I'm sorry. A completely different screenplay was circulating around for forever. I think it was supposed to be another Die Hard.
Okay, yeah.
And they were like,
this does
no.
happen all the time. Yeah.
They're like, no, this is stupid. And they're like, all right, fine, fuck it. It's Speed 2.
That happens with horror movies frequently, where it's just like, this was supposed to be a Hellraiser sequel. Let's just call it something else.
Yeah, like, this movie actually jumps. It reminded me a little bit of, both of you watch 30 Rock, right? I know Ryan does.
Absolutely, yes. 100%.
You know the episode where they go to film the horror movie Give Me Your Hand? And then it turns into this gigantic, like, advertisement for the state of Connecticut somehow?
Yes.
For some reason, this movie gave me that kind of vibe. And I think it was the Toyota Highlander chase scene.
Guys, I hate to break it to you. I did realize we have a built-in timer now, which is great, but we also need to start running through some plot.
Right.
So I will say, all right, most of the intro shots, most of the lead up in what you can probably call the prologue of the actual plot is trying to establish a couple of very simple points. Cage's character, Paul, is a super normal dad, and Caitlin is a super normal teenage daughter. He's like grumpy about her having a henna design on her hand and bugging her about school, and he bought her SAT prep books when she's a year away from taking the SATs. And she seems relatively studious, but also like a bit get off my back dad type situation. But they seem to have a decent relationship.
Again, big 2011 dad energy.
Super sitcom-y, basically. But I do need to point out the scene where Paul stops by a bar.
This was weird. This was weird.
I have to talk about this specifically because of the dialogue. So we later learn the bar is owned by one of his old crime buddies. Paul is a reformed criminal. They get into it relatively quickly, but at this point we're not aware. But he booked this bar for Caitlin's Sweet 16, and they're talking about let's obviously none of these kids are going to be drinking alcohol, and one of the guys comments is make sure the bouncer knows not to sell any of them meth. And he's like, Jesus Christ, your doorman sells meth? And he's like, look, we used to get up to some shit, right? We're reformed, but these are 16-year-olds. Obviously, we got it all locked down. We're family, blah, blah, blah. None of that is important about this scene. What is important about this scene is when they're reminiscing about their past, they're talking about this girl they went to high school with or whatever right after high school who had a lazy eye that apparently both of his friends had sex with at some point. And they use the term milk brothers, which is somehow
so grosser than
worse
Tunnel
than
Buddies.
any other term I have heard used to refer to that phenomenon.
It is absolutely the most vile phrasing I've ever heard for that, personally.
What the fuck? There are so many other Urban Dictionary common parlance terms they could have used.
Tunnel
and
Buddies,
they had to
Eskimo Brothers. There's fucking 30 more.
They had to invent the worst one I've ever heard. Milk Brothers is gonna haunt me far, far after we get past
I was going to talk about that, but also just the insanity of Nick Cage being so anti-alcohol, but then throwing his daughter's 16th birthday at a bar where he's he's a super rich guy in this movie. There is no reason for him to be cutting costs and being oh yeah, he gave it to me at a steal because he's my friend.
Yeah, he's gonna have the Sweet 16 at a VFW.
All right, so I think there's a couple of misconceptions that I can help clear up here. So he's not super anti drugs and alcohol.
He's just anti-drugs for his daughter.
He's a sitcom dad. So he just wants to make sure everything's fine for his daughter. But also, he is, or was, an old school gangster. So you have to remember, it's not about the money, it's he has a guy for it.
Yeah.
He has a guy for it. I got a guy with a venue. I trust this guy. I know this guy. I'm gonna go with that. It has nothing to do with the cost.
And also, he super
it's
hates
about
drugs.
having a guy.
He does super hate drugs. He talks about it constantly.
He super hates drugs when it comes to dudes who want to date his daughter.
And his
friends who openly do drugs constantly.
I think that's more about it making them unreliable. I don't think it's a moral judgment in any way, shape, or form, personally. But that was my take on the character. So, Cage and his wife, who is clearly Caitlin's stepmother, they don't explain what is up with that situation until later in the film.
Not much later. I mean, it's almost immediately where she has the little I know you're not my daughter, but don't have cigarette butts out the back door. It's minutes later.
No. They don't explain how that happened until after the animating, the catalyst to the plot itself.
Mm-hmm.
But again, very sitcom-y. The stepmom loves Caitlin like her own daughter. And they emphasize this because what's happening is Paul and Vanessa are getting ready to go out for the evening to dinner. And Caitlin has two dudes over who are just friends at this point, and they're playing fucking video games or watching
the worst Guitar Hero player I've ever seen.
Yeah, that dude sucks.
Yeah, he missed every note.
So, also, I think we skipped past a scene where Paul is at a groundbreaking with the mayor for some convention center. So he's a big deal businessman guy. Is the only thing you're supposed to take away from that scene. So, yeah, Caitlin gets a little bit of a talking to by Vanessa about not smoking cigarettes in the backyard while they're out because she tried to take the rap for last time.
No, she didn't take that. But this is what makes me think she doesn't necessarily like the daughter so much, because she didn't say that she took the rap for it. She said it was, like, she was blamed for it.
No, she said
she 100%
I think you might be...
said, like I took the rap for it, but your father almost didn't believe me.
Yeah, okay. Caitlin goes, did he believe you? And she's like, probably not, but that's not the point. Like, let's not do this.
I misread that scene when I watched it then.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, I think Vanessa's, fondness for Caitlin is played very sincere from jump on this. Meanwhile, Paul takes Mike. Mike is one of the guys who is hanging out with Caitlin, who is apparently interested in Caitlin.
And he works at Denny's.
He works at Denny's. And he takes him into the next room under a pretense to ask him a bunch of questions. Like, hey, I heard you have a job. He's like, yeah, I have a job. And he's like, you smoke weed? And he's like, no. And he's like, any other drugs? And he's like, no. And he's like, all right, well, are you going to ask my daughter out? And he's like, I didn't think you'd let her do that. And he's like, well, maybe if the dude asking had a job and didn't do drugs.
Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey.
I mean, it's super sitcom dadish. That's all. Yeah. Like the setup to this film is how benign all of this shit is off the bat. And that's all I took away from it. It's really tropish, in my opinion, but it does a decent job of getting the message across. So, the adults head out for dinner, and at the end of the evening, Detective St. John comes in to talk to Paul. And this is where they sort of expand on Paul used to have a rough and tumble history, because he's like, dude, don't bother me with this now. Like, nothing you have to say about what I've done in the past can't wait till tomorrow. And the detective is like, no, it's about your daughter. Uh-oh. And so Paul and Vanessa rush home, and it turns out there was a home invasion, and Caitlin was kidnapped. Mike and Evan are beat up. Evan was like super traumatized and already sent home. Mike was still at the scene, I guess being questioned or treated or something or the other. And we get like this full flashback of the kids drinking and masked men barging in with guns and dragging Caitlin off. The only thing I will say about this is at least somebody in the prop department was like, we have to make the teens drinking look realistic. So like Caitlin is drinking out of a plastic bottle of pre-mixed margaritas, which, yep, that tracks.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And Michael is drinking out of a plastic like pint of either... It was probably supposed to be vodka, but when I saw it, I was immediately like, peppermint schnapps. That's
God, no!
The kids are getting fucked up on a big bottle of pre-mixed margarita and peppermint schnapps, and that tracks perfectly.
I can't even look at a bottle of Rumpelmints without my stomach turning now.
So, Rumpelmints is a little bit different than peppermint
thing
schnapps.
To me, yeah.
No, that's a peppermint schnapps.
It
says it on the bottle.
It is a peppermint
really? Okay.
schnapps, but it's also at pure poison levels of ABV.
Yeah.
There are other peppermint schnapses that are much less likely to make you feel like you're dying.
I ate a whole loaf of bread that night to make sure I wouldn't die. I needed something to sop that shit up.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, Rumpelmints is rough. What was the... I have a name in mind, but I don't want to say it if I'm wrong. What was the same brand that had that... I think it was like raspberry schnapps?
Oh, I have no idea. You are out of my...
Yeah, schnapps is a no-go for me anymore, so I don't even look at those.
It's literally... It's the same brand as Rumpelmints. I think it's called Black House, like Haus, but I'm not 100% certain.
That would track. Most schnapps are German.
Hence schnapps.
Oh, yep, that's what it is. It's Black House.
Well, Josh, maybe Black House will run an ad on our podcast.
Yeah, are you a teenager? Are you trying to drink behind your parents' backs?
Do you like...
Schnapps. It'll get you fucked up.
It's got the texture of syrup.
Yes, it does. It's super thick, and it'll make your blood feel that thick after a couple of glasses. Anyway, here's some real ads.
Black House brand schnapps. It'll make your pee thick.
It'll make you wonder if you have gonorrhea.
Was that a kidney
Holy
stone? I don't know.
Wait, got kidney stones? Lube up those pipes. Black House. Schnapps.
Okay, we might get sued, but it's fine.
No,
We're saying good
these
things.
Yeah.
These are good use
These are
cases.
just good
for
things. Yeah.
Please don't sue us.
Yeah,
James.
it's like when we were discussing Kirkland brand ROM. Nothing but good things. You can use it on bug bites.
I did have a friend of mine fucking text me the other day because he listened to the Color Out of Space episode, and he was like, who the fuck were you talking about with the Kirkland brand rum and fucking getting chiggers out of his legs? So I had to tell him about the deep lore.
There is, like, I need to go back and listen to when we first started talking about dick pills.
I don't remember when that was. It just
Yeah, I
seems
don't
like
rem-
it's been forever. It, like, Between Worlds seems like the correct episode for us to have started that, but I've listened to that one back, and it doesn't.
Between Worlds did do a lot to shape, I think, the branding of this podcast. I've got to go back.
Yeah,
and listen
everybody
to it.
listen.
It's a
Listening.
world of truckers out there.
Everybody here listening should go back and listen to Between Worlds, because that's what really formed us.
It's the episode
did-
I tell people to listen to if they ask which one.
Well, I think, that was
Yeah,
also...
it's a movie you haven't seen.
That was also really the first movie that we watched that wasn't what we thought it was going to be. Meaning that, like, we watched Snake Eyes, we knew it was going to be good. We watched, Ghost Rider, and we knew that, like, it was going to be bad, but probably not as bad as we remember. We watched Moonstruck, we knew that was going to be phenomenal. We thought Between Worlds was going to be terrible, and that movie just fucks on another level. They
really
they
does.
make Rhino 69 dick pills out of grinded up DVDs of Between Worlds. That's how hard that movie
And
fucks.
sawdust. You need the sawdust.
No. There is no sawdust. I've seen how they make
There's
it.
no sawdust?
They essentially
Is there a How It's Made episode? I gotta cop that.
They can't possibly be putting that uncut into a pill.
No.
That would make your dick gigantic and then explode and take out half the eastern seaboard.
That's why, if you look at reviews for Rhino 69, because I'm a crazy person.
It says it'll make your dick explode and take out a
No,
5-block
but people have
radius.
said that it
Explode.
will keep their dick hard for 5 days straight.
Oh no!
That's crazy. That's a scheduling issue. That's what that is.
Dick explosion.
So, Jesus. I know you guys didn't like this movie because I can't remember the last time we danced around a plot this hard.
I really didn't.
No, I liked this movie. I'm fine with it, existing. Listen, just go watch Mystic River. It's the same fucking movie.
It's
Yeah,
close.
yeah.
It's real fucking close. And I do like that that's just going to confuse people as we continue to go through the plot. So the detective, after, Vanessa and Paul have seen the house, questions, I think rightfully so, like, Paul, does this have anything to do with your shady past? And Paul's like, I've been out of the game for 15 years. You know it. I
The world
know it.
knows it.
The detective references a massacre. I didn't write the name down here. I wrote it down the next time they reference it as like the Peas Market Massacre or some shit. I don't recall off the top of my head. And he was like, "Yep, that was 15 years ago. I've been straight as an arrow since. So it can't be that." And he's like, "All right, well, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna put this story out on the news immediately." And we're going to focus on your super shady past.
Hey guys, I just found a weird connection between this and Between Worlds. They were both shot in Mobile, Alabama.
Is Mobile, Alabama, like a popular place to shoot? Because like
I think that there's
spots
tax
in Georgia
cuts,
were.
yeah. I'm pretty sure it's tax cuts.
Yeah, I mean it always is.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, and the detective clarifies that the reason to do this is if these are just some assholes who don't know better, once they hear about Paul, they'll be like, oh, shit, and drop Caitlin off at a gas station. And she'll be back before lunch tomorrow. That's the strategy, I guess, behind the what the
this
cops
was
are
probably the
planning on
thing that
doing.
made the most sense in this movie, though. Like he said the rationale, and I'm like, everything you said makes sense to me. Of either they don't know who you are and say, oh shit, we fucked with the wrong rhino. That's a Smoochie reference.
69.
And they take her back, or the guys knew exactly what they were doing, and you're going to get a ransom note. Those are the options. Nobody knew that there was a secret third door.
This is how I knew I was watching a movie, because that's the most competent police plan I have heard of in years. It made sense.
Well, listen,
to me.
off camera, just so you know, because I did do some lore digging into this movie. Off camera, they did shoot 4 dogs on their way to their cars. That's in Rage canon, by the way. Yeah.
Of course. We always do that level of research for these films. So at this point, Vanessa prods Paul a bit as well. Like, was this anything to do with your past? And he's like, come on, you know I would say anything, give any information that would help with this. And she's like, all right, well then do whatever you have to do. And he goes, okay. And he goes to his wardrobe and looks through it. And he puts on a leather jacket, and then we have a flashback to him. It looks like him doing like a carjacking of some sort. But it's 100% the film version of the Bugs Bunny, forgive me, Lord, I gotta go back to the old me meme. So, but he's all set up and ready to go. He goes to leave his house, and the cops, make some noise about this, like, you should be staying by the phone. But Paul goes to visit that guy, Mike, who was there that night. And he tells Mike a story. And I do love that this is supposed to be, like, really intimidating. And it's a little intimidating. But because it's coming from Nick Cage, who I've seen in a lot of different contexts, it just made me laugh, personally. He's like, when I was dating Caitlin's mother, we went out to the boardwalk or something, and then he's also, like, racist.
Oh, yes, against Puerto Ricans specifically.
Fucking Cage is... Not just them, he's fucking xenophobic throughout this whole ass movie.
He is.
No, but he mentions Puerto Ricans by nationality like 8 times.
Yeah.
He does, but also, I don't know if you guys noticed this, because I do the housekeeping notes, but I think this film might be a little racist.
I think
every
so.
character's name is like, they just they named characters like J.K. Rowling does. Francis O'Connell.
Yeah.
Chernov. Just every fucking...
Well, yeah, that's how you know there's actually no gay characters in Harry Potter, because they would have been called, like Queerio Fanny.
I thought you were gonna go a direction that we would have had to throw a bleep in on there.
I didn't
know how hard you were gonna go on that
really
joke.
thought about it, but I was like, no. I will keep it PG.
I saw the look in your eyes. I was like, ready.
I think the slur you were gonna say has a different connotation in the UK.
That's also a possibility. Oh goodness. Okay,
and
but
I'm allowed to
look.
use that word. You can't. I can.
Yeah. My cigarettes can as well.
But so the racist part we're talking about is like, this guy walks by and calls her a slut. A Puerto Rican looking dude, not even Puerto Rican looking. That was the charge against the guy. And so he's like, so I had to defend her honor, because that's what men do. So I broke his legs with a tire iron. And Mike is intimidated by this speech, and he's like, I'm super sorry. I wish I was braver. The guys had guns. And Paul is like, I would expect you to get shot to to save her.
Which is insane.
And Mike didn't say it, but I was thinking it for him. He's like, I didn't even ask her out yet, dude.
Yeah,
like,
she ain't even
we're
touched my dick.
Friends. That's it.
Yeah, there was no
we do
dating.
Yeah. We do also get the full story about what's up with Vanessa. Caitlin's mother died of cancer.
Stage 4 breast
happened.
cancer.
Correct. And it was after that Paul decided to go straight because he couldn't risk Caitlin being left without any parents. So that's when he left the life and became a legitimate businessman successfully. I don't know how often that happens. You're like, oh shit, I got to start being responsible and then become successful. I don't know that happens like that. But anyway, it did in this case. So Paul presses him for details about the kidnappers, accents, how they smelled even, which might be a little racist.
No.
That was the next line that made me
racist
think of,
because he even mentions.
It definitely was.
He even mentions, did you smell curry? Did you smell spicy food on their breath or anything?
Did they smell like garlic? Were they a Dago Wop?
I will not be. I will not be editing that. We will be canceling Ryan.
Yeah, no, we're Italian. Yeah, me and Rich are Italian. We're allowed to say that word.
Everyone's allowed to say that word.
Italian.
You're always allowed to make fun of Italians.
Everyone, yeah.
I was going to say, that is on the short list of slurs that are still acceptable. Nobody's canceling anybody for anti-Italian discrimination.
That's fair.
It's just not happening. Which, to me, just says that the Italians are good sports.
Yeah, we are.
I mean, the young
think
Italian.
it's funny.
So I'll actually tell a funny story here. So one of my partners went to high school with somebody who does like a pop-up pizza shop in South Jersey now, and she had mentioned.
What's the point of that?
I don't understand
The
that
pizza's
either.
good actually, and he's actually opened up a shop in.
Is it better than the pizza you can get literally everywhere else in South
It's
Jersey?
different.
Literally every 5 fucking.
It's
okay.
different, but like, what I'll say, he's opening a shop in the.
Well, then it's wrong.
In the town that Bayfest happens in.
Okay.
So that way, people want to, like, try to find.
You gotta bleep that too. That's Googleable,
That
dude.
is Googleable.
No, listen. If you want to Google that, like, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna do it now just to see if we have to bleep it.
But she had mentioned something about his dad being in the mafia, and he apparently cried to the principal saying it's anti-Italian discrimination, and she got suspended from school for 3 days.
No, we gotta beep that. That's the only Bayfest in New Jersey.
I told you.
No, if they're gonna do that work, they deserve to know.
Rich is like, I don't want to dox us, but we live near Schmetlanik Schmitty.
None of us actually live in that town, so I'm fine just letting that one slide.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
In fact, go there. This is legal advice. Go there, raise some hell looking for us.
Yeah, be like
the doors
where,
of Caesar's Atlantic City. Where is Cage Fight?
where are them Nick Cage boys at?
Yeah, you're just gonna confuse and annoy the locals. But at least if you go there instead of Atlantic City, you probably won't get robbed. You might get tossed out of a couple of bars, though.
That depends on what part of Atlantic City, and if you venture into Pleasantville.
Yeah. Although Pleasantville Jesus Christ, what are we doing? We have to stop.
Doxing the shit out of ourselves is what we're
No,
doing.
we're not. We have not
You
mentioned
guys-
any towns that any of us live in.
That's fair. That is fair.
It's South Jersey. Everywhere is 15 minutes from everywhere else. You're just gonna draw a circle on a map. You reference the Taken movies several times. You wouldn't even need to drop a grenade to triangulate where we are. I think this is a good place to stop before Rich gives my home address. And we'll cover the rest of the plot. We didn't even get to the turn.
You mean
this.
in,
But you know what?
in Society Hill in Galloway Township?
That's you're just making. I don't do the editing, man. You're not even hurting me.
Yeah, I know. I'm hurting myself at this point.
But, yeah. let's pick up the plot in part 2. I promise you, listener, you have no idea where this is going. I didn't know where this was going for quite a bit throughout the runtime of this. So check out part 2, so you don't have to watch this movie, which I wouldn't recommend. It's not awful, but it's not great. Listen to us tell you about it instead.
You're better off watching the 1993 film Ticks, starring Clint Howard, a very young Seth Green, and the guy who plays Carlton.
Oh, I saw you watching that on the Facebook.
It's fun. They're giant ticks.
Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, he's in there.
The general manager of a restaurant I used to work at several years ago, his claim to fame was that he learned the Carlton dance from Carlton himself.
Okay, that's a pretty good claim
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that is kind of dope.
So, thank you, as always, for tuning in. I hope you
Wait, I have to
enjoyed,
drop the Patreon,
the banter.
You absolute nincompoop.
I'm getting to it. Okay, we're all really excited about being back from our collective sabbaticals. Ryan did ayahuasca with shamans in the Amazon. I think that's what he said.
That is 100% what I did.
Rich has been plotting an overthrow of the local government in Philadelphia, and I invaded Mexico briefly. Showed up with ill intention, made friends with the locals, and just really had a good time. So excuse the emotions running high for us. If the wait between this episode and the next is just too interminable for you, you can find us still currently on X, I guess, for the moment, at cagefight_pod. We do have a Patreon, which, who knows, we might create a tier where we mail you loose dick pills that we buy from local gas stations. That's still in product development, so don't hold me to that. But, Rich, where could they go if they were interested in a monthly loose dick pill?
You go to patreon.com/NickCageFight. I will be making that tier. It will be $50. You will get 3 dick pills and just the cheapest poppers I can find.
Unlabeled.
But don't do them at the same time. You will die. It is a bad time.
Yeah, that's gonna bind up your heart, your dick, and your butthole.
We'll throw some fucking video head cleaner as well. Just the general dregs. Those little wire roses and glass tubes that you can get in really bad gas stations.
Literally every gas station I stopped at on the way to fucking North Carolina.
Wait, now...
That's how you know you're in an area with a crack or meth issue.
I never put that together, I swear to God.
Oh, dude.
No, there's a special little gift for your girl.
I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. If you go into a gas station and you see the following things, you know you're in a bad area. First of all, they are selling detergent. The detergent is locked to the shelf. Somebody has to unlock it so that you can purchase it. Shoelaces. Individual shoelaces, they are also locked in a case. You got to get somebody to unlock the case to give it to you. And then finally, oh, no. One other thing. The rip-off brand Brillo pads, but they're made of copper.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bad sign. And
that's a super bad sign.
If the place has that and at the counter, those little, again, wire and paper roses in a glass tube with white plastic caps on either end, you are in a bad neighborhood. Get back in your car.
You don't even need to check to see if the bathroom smells like a tire fire.
So those are signs to look out for. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Check us out for episode 2 of Rage, the film you've never heard of and should probably not waste your time seeing.
I wonder if either of the other 2 movies named Rage are worth watching.
Probably not.
I don't know.
There's a 2009 and a 2021, just so you know.
We'll have to make a Rage in the Cage podcast just to cover movies with Rage in their title.
There's also a 1966, a 1972, a 1997, a 1999.
God damn, I didn't dig that far, but that's not largely surprising.
Then there's The Rage.
We could do a mini-series.
There's The Rage, Carrie 2, 1999. Rage.
Oh, that movie's fucking great.
Rage 2002, 2006, The Rage 2007, The Rage 2008, Rage 2009, Rage 2009. Oh my god, 2014.
Yeah, man.
There's one a year.
There's an episode of Law and Order SVU called Rage. There is an episode of Queer as Folk called Rage. There is a TV program called Rage. And then there is the Rage virus from 28 Days Later.
Cool.
Okay, so there's a whole mini-series.
Oh, yes.
Also, just on the same strain, before we sign off, I gotta say, when I was doing housekeeping and Peter Stormare showed up again, I was like, we should do a Stormare podcast. And then, of course, my mind immediately goes to pun podcast names. So I was like, I have the Stormare Chasers, but I wanted to workshop it with you guys. You guys got any good Stormare pun names off the top of your head?
Peter, Stormare Eater.
That's something. That was not what I was expecting, but I did enjoy
That's
that.
real
I'm
good.
glad. My brain is diseased.
No, that's solid. I like that. All right, that's good enough.
Yeah,
for me.
I'm not gonna
myself
have
has the
that.
giggle fits.
yeah, that shut that one down solid. Good job, Ryan. Points to you. So thank you, as always, for tuning in, and please remember, dear listeners, we appreciate you.